Because if you don't prove that you're good at what you do, then no matter how good your DM script is, you will never get a response. Good morning, let's book some calls. If you're new to the channel, I'm Molina. I built and sold a $1.4 million company with just a free Twitter account in around 2.5 years, and I'm here to show you how to monetize your social media. I'm gonna show you the 4-step sales process that I use to take people from just finding them on social media to actually having them book a call with you. I'm gonna show you how to talk to the people who follow you, to the people who don't follow you, and how to optimize your profile so the DMs that you get sent at least get read and they will consider responding to you. We're gonna split this video in 3. First is, how do we optimize our profile and our content so people will actually take us seriously and not ghost us? Number 2 is, we're gonna cover how to message people who follow us. And then we're gonna message people who do not follow us and how to get all of these people to actually book a call with us so we can sell our service to them and make more money. Let's get into it. You gotta understand how a DM works and the anatomy and what's going on behind a DM. When you send a DM, people don't just read the DM. The first thing they do is they check your profile, and then they read your bio, and then they read your pin post, and then they check out their link in bio. So a lot of filters happen before you even send the message. So how do we optimize for this? I have a rule of thumb for these things. You gotta understand why people buy, why people make decisions. They wanna buy from professionals. And you, as the entrepreneur, your job is to demonstrate that you are a professional. Now, by professional, I don't mean that you have a degree or you are top 1% in your industry. Professional means that you're competent at what you do. If there's one thing you take away from this, it's your profile has to demonstrate competence. People need to see that you're good at something. So the way I like to do this is, on the bio, I like to claim my competence and what are you good at and why should people even listen to you? Because in your bio, it's a short segment. You can't really prove anything there. That's what the pinned post is for. So if you go to your pinned post, I like you to think about, how can I prove my competence to anybody who lands on my profile? This is a great place to put a case study, to put your story, to maybe show some proof, share some screenshots, anything that can make people go,
maybe this guy's legit.
Because when people go to profile, they will classify you in 1 or 2 buckets. Is this guy legit or not? So that's one battle that you need to win early on. You need to prove to people that you're legit. And then the link in bio invites people who want to hire you for your competence. You should always have that, and most of your traffic and most of your sales, especially in organic, are not going to come from the link in bio. But usually your most qualified leads will, because they will read your content, and then when they're ready, they'll buy and they'll already be convinced. For now, just know, the bio claims the competence, the pin post proves the competence, and the link in bio invites people to hire you for your competence. It all encompasses competence, which is why this is a DM video, but we start with you proving that you're good at what you do. Because if you don't prove that you're good at what you do, then no matter how good your DM script is, you will never get a response. So that's the first step, proving that you're good at what you do. Number 2, let's say you have a certain following and you have some leads inside that audience. How do we actually get them to buy? First thing we want is, we want to fit the bait to the fish. Let's say you were running a vegan restaurant and you only serve vegan food on a vegan menu and you gave people a vegan plate. And then you complain that carnivores are not buying from your store. Well, if you wanted carnivores, why are you talking to vegan people? And I see that all the time on Twitter. People will talk about how to get your first client, how to get your first dollar online. And then they will complain that they're not attracting a qualified audience. Or they'll talk about things that have nothing to do with them. Like, for example, fitness coaches do this all the time. They'll talk about masculinity and just changing the world, and they won't talk about the one thing people want them to talk about, which is how to get a six-pack. So you gotta fit the bait to the fish. You gotta figure out, what does my audience actually want? And the question I like to ask myself before I even post anything is very useful for myself, so hopefully it'll be useful for you. What would someone who meets my ideal client criteria be interested in? So for example, I only work with people that are making around $10,000 a month and above. That's like my sweet spot. Before every post, I'll ask myself, what would somebody making $10,000 a month be interested in? Would someone making $10,000 a month be interested in this? Find out how that one question allows you to create better content. So you send that out, and every day you find a certain way to prove that you're good at what you do. That could be testimonials, case studies, common practice in your industry that you stand against, client win you can share, personal win you can share. What resource do you currently use every day in your business that you could give away? What's one reason people would not buy from you, and why is that that reason not valid. That's called solving objections with content. That's one of my favorite ways to go about it. All of these are questions designed to prove your competence. That's only half the equation. Now, after you post them, here's the trick. You're not gonna ask for anything yet, because in organic, it's kind of hard for people to book calls. It's just hard to get them on the calendar. So what we're going to do instead is we're gonna prove that we're good at what we do, and then we're gonna message the people who engage with that content. Because people online, they tend to take a long time to make decisions, but we can speed it up by DMing them and talking to them about our solutions, because if they liked it, then they're probably interested in it. So you're gonna DM them. And then a good way to do this is implement the 4-part script that we use. You know how people go,
DMs are dead, they're so annoying, don't DM me with your offer, like actually create value.
Nobody who's anybody will ever try to put you down for starting a business. Like, that's not going to happen. You're building a business. Like, you're trying to make money. You're trying to hustle your way out of this thing. So nobody who's respectable will ever roast you for trying to grow your business. Like, these are not the prospects you want. And if they roast you for trying to grow your business, then no, maybe they're not doing so well. When people say Twitter's dead, no, the way you play Twitter is dead. So we want to open with 2 things. Number 1 is high interest. We just want to go straight for the punch. Tell them, hey man, I have this thing, do you want it? It's just more honest. And 2 is you want to open also with high status. That's a big mistake I see people make. They will send a message that says,
hey bro, I read your post and it changed my life. I listened to your podcast and my life has never been the same.
You know, number 1 is it's bullshit. And number 2 is they know that your life is the same. So let's just cut right to the chase. I like to open with something that's high interest. I have this thing, do you want it? Let me know. Number 2, you find the problem. Now you'll find that prospects are not liars, but they are dishonest. They'll rarely tell you what the issue is up front. So your job as the entrepreneur, and this is where kind of the art comes into play, you finding out what are the right questions to ask. What's the issue? What are you struggling with? What have you tried on a scale from 1 to 10? And a good heuristic here is don't ask things that start with is it, has it, do you, would you, and yes or no. Ask more questions that start with verbs. What, how, when, why, who. Because there's a difference between saying, are you happy with your lead flow? Or you asking them, how many leads are you getting per day? When you ask questions with verbs, you get more information than if you ask questions with adverbs. An important thing to note here is you're not selling by chat, you're setting by chat. So don't ramble, don't go on too long. There should be around the same text amounts from you and your prospect. So if they ask about details, well then that means that maybe they're interested in something. After you found the problem, that's when you go to step 3, go for the call. The only way you're gonna make people do something is you wanna make them do it in the first place. And that's what you're doing here. You found the problem and then you go, hey man, well, let's set up a call next week to see if we can find a solution to this problem. Or, oh, I had this client struggle with the same thing. Let's go over solutions on a call and see if I can help. It's always high status. Like, you don't wanna be below the prospect. If anything, you wanna be above the prospect. You're the guy with the solution. They're the guys that need it. And then 4th, I like to introduce a little bit of urgency, right? Maybe tell them you're gonna keep your chat window open while they'll pick a time. Maybe ask them to do it now so they don't forget. And that's it. That's how you convert them. And the reason why this process will work better for you than it will work for other people, it's because you already have proof of competence. They already know what you do. They already know you're good at it. Was it slimy? No. Was it corny? No. Was it high status and high interest? Yes. And that's the point. That's what you're gonna do to people who follow you. Post proof of competence every day and then you DM those people. Because when they like stuff, then that means they're somewhat interested. So you gotta go there and probe. Are they actually interested? That's the job of the DMs. It's not selling by chat. It's setting by chat. What do we do with people who do not follow us, but we kind of know where they hang out? First things first, you should really know who your target avatar is. Like, know everything about them. What do they look like? How do they talk? How much money they make? What industries are they in? What are they interested in? All these things should be on top of mind from you. Like, this is the first thing. After you know that, then you ask yourself this question: who would this person follow online? And then you create a list. Russell Brunson calls this the Dream 100. Not of 100 people who are your prospects. You instead focus on who would these people follow online. So maybe you're selling passive income solutions, right? And your perfect market is burned out 9-to-5ers. In that case, don't follow other passive income guys. Go to people who burned out 9-to-5ers follow. You gotta be smart about this, right? Where are they? Like, if you're gonna fish, you might as well fish where the fish are. After you do that, you gotta understand how social relationships work online. When you go to a party, what you'll find is that people that are like each other hang out with each other. So you'll find certain cliques online, certain groups where people follow each other and they're pretty similar. And if you find one qualified person, then that means that that qualified person probably hangs out with other qualified persons. So what you do then is you send them the same message, but you change the first message. Instead of saying, hey, I saw you commented under my thing, you say, hey, I've noticed you've commented under this thing and I had this solution. I thought this might be relevant. Let me know. Same thing. But what you do then, and this is what I like to do, is 1 or 2 days a week, just collect leads. You just go in lead collecting mode and you go over who are they liking, who are they commenting on, who are they retweeting, who are they sharing. And you come up with this huge list, like hundreds and hundreds, even thousands of names sometimes. And you just do that for the entire day. I suggest you do this on a Sunday or a Saturday so you can collect a lot of leads. And then on Monday, you just ram DMs. You just send them and you just create this huge influx of people who you are DMing, and then eventually somebody's going to say yes because the message you're sending is high interest, it's high status. And if you do this and if you're consistent, eventually people will start paying attention. So if you follow those steps, I'm sure you will book calls. And if you keep booking calls, I'm also sure you will make money. If this was valuable to you, I'd appreciate it if you shared it with a friend or just like the video. You can follow me and subscribe for more content on audience monetization. I'm not so much interested in growth because likes are cool, but likes in cash. See you around.